Good afternoon. I'd like to introduce you to session 78. Please stand for the Metro Honor Guard and the presentation of colors and the national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, their bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Please take your seats. I'm Lieutenant Wayne Wu, Grand Rapids Police Department, but I'm also an instructor here at GRCC's Police Academy. On October 13th, 2011, City of Walker Police Officer Trevor Parker Slott was killed in the line of duty while assisting area law enforcement officers in attempting to apprehend two armed and extremely violent bank robbery suspects. At the request of Walker's Director of Public Safety, Catherine Garcia Lindstrom, The Region 6 All Hazards Incident Management Team and the Kent County Metro Honor Guard assumed the responsibilities for planning, organizing, and implementing a full honors funeral for Trevor and his family. In the week that followed, numerous law enforcement agencies assisted by providing personnel, equipment, and logistical support. Early in the process, Grand Rapids Community College Police Academy Director Jody Richard reached out to the team and offered the assistance of recruits from the 78th session of the GRCC Police Academy. With a number of team members actively serving as academy instructors for Director Richard, we were well aware as to the training and preparedness of the recruits, and we gladly accepted her offer of assistance. Officer Slott's funeral service occurred on Friday, October 21st, 2011, at Resurrection Life Church in Wyoming, Michigan. The service occurred smoothly. It gave the Slott family a great deal of comfort and pride in the sacrifice made by Trevor and showed them the gratefulness of a thankful community who mourned with them for their loss. Well over 1,500 officers from across the state and Midwest attended the service. Total attendance was estimated at approximately 3,000 people. I would like to present and read a letter of appreciation offered by the Region 6 All Hazards Incident Management Team to Director Richard and the recruits of Session 78. Dear Director Richard, please accept our sincerest gratitude for the logistical support that you and your recruits provided during our team, or for our team, in rendering a full honors funeral for Walker Police Officer Trevor Slott. Your recruits performed their assigned duties in a respectful and professional manner. Without their assistance, we would not have been able to successfully stage and launch the final motorcade in an orderly fashion. They willingly accepted any task that was asked of them and truly made our jobs easier. Their actions reflected well upon themselves, you, the GRCC Police Academy, and the law enforcement profession. The team also appreciated the trust you extended to us by allowing us to use the Academy radios. By having these radios, we were able to provide a tactical channel for the parking and site security groups, which greatly enhanced our operations. Thank you, and please pass our gratitude to your recruits. Sincerely, Lieutenant Paul Englam, Deputy Incident Commander, Region 6 Incident Management Team. So on behalf of the Region 6 Incident Management Team and their Metropolitan Honor Guard, I'd like to thank the recruits and Director Richard for their participation in a very difficult time in our local law enforcement lives and for presenting themselves in a truly professional manner. Thank you very much. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, officers around the nation respond to calls for assistance from victims and alarms that require us to respond in a very dangerous environment. All too often, while attempting to help the victims of crime or arrest its perpetrators, officers are seriously injured and killed in the line of duty. These recruits are well aware of the risks and sacrifice that they may be called upon to endure. During their term as recruits, they have assisted the West Michigan law enforcement family in burying 2 fallen officers due to line-of-duty violence. Yet they remain to carry on the torch of public safety should any of us fall. Please give your attention to the screen behind me as the recruits of Session 78 present to you an offering of remembrance and gratitude to those who have gone before us by giving the ultimate sacrifice in the service of their communities.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2011 Grand Rapids Community College Police Academy graduation. What an exciting day it is. On behalf of the students and staff, I would like to thank all of you, the friends, the families of our recruits. We understand the sacrifice that you too have given during this journey. Thank you for your dedication, your patience, and your encouragement to get them to where they are today. I would also like to acknowledge and welcome the criminal justice staff, the wonderful instructors that we have on our staff, along with Fawn Tabalik, George Zeef, Gary Ebels, and Nikki Banks. Also, I'd like to thank the Associate Dean, Paula Sullivan, for coming, many members of our advisory board, and our MCOLS representatives, Mr. Harvey, Mr. Reed, and Mr. DeVries. At this time, we would like to share with you a short video that the recruits have put together that just entails just a little bit of what they have endured over the last year. We hope you like it. Those last few pictures we realize are not very great, but they get exactly what those mean. 7 a.m. the first day, PT in the snow, up a mountain, it felt like. Few people didn't have very good reactions to that, but they get what those pictures are. At this time, I would like to introduce you and welcome to the stage the Executive Director of the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, Mr. David Harvey.
Thanks, Director. When she asked me to do this, I didn't realize my entire head was going to be back here, so that intimidates me a little bit. So, looking down upon myself, so I would have shaved a little closer. I apologize. Just kidding. Thank you, recruits, and thank you, family and friends, for allowing me to be here today. This is truly a great day for me, and I say that because I've got a law enforcement career myself in the past. It's getting to be a lot farther in the past than it used to be. And when I think about the past, I think about the day that I did this very thing that the recruits did and graduate from a police academy. So I know they feel pride, and I love to come here and look in their eyes and see that pride and see that fire in their eyes. And like the song and the video, that Eye of the Tiger, you can see that eye of the tiger. They're ready to go. They're ready to charge out into the world and get that first job and get out on the street. The very best time of my career, the best, for me was my first 8 years. It was in a patrol car. Not that the rest of it wasn't good. I enjoyed all the things that I did in law enforcement. But I go back to my first 8 years in a patrol car to when I said, why are they paying me to have so much fun? And the days that I would go and ride for free with my partner, my friend, because I wanted to be in a patrol car. You truly have found your passion when you can say, why are you paying me to do this job? I look back today, and that was one of the greatest times of my entire career. But you're getting your certificates today, recruits, a lot due to the support you got from your family and friends. That's no minor thing. It's a team effort to get you where you are today. But what else is happening today? What else is happening today is you become a leader. And I'm not talking about who gets the awards today, who gets the Outstanding Performance Award, who gets the highest academic, who gets whatever. I don't care if you were a platoon leader or a platoon sergeant. I don't care about that. What I care about is you've now entered into law enforcement and you've chosen to become a leader in your community. I now no longer am an active police officer. I'm part of the community. And I expect, like all of you expect of police officers, to be that leader. And now that you're going to be a police officer, when things are going bad and somebody pushes the button and 911 is called, a police officer shows on the scene, regardless of their rank, whether they're a patrol officer, a lieutenant, a chief, a sheriff, a corrections, it doesn't matter. Whatever your rank is, you're expected to handle that situation and lead. So you are now a leader. What does it take to be an effective leader? There's a lot of attributes for great leaders, and we can see some of those lack of attributes in our society today. We see it on the news every day about those lack of things that people possess to be leaders and lead people down the wrong direction. But to me, the best attribute of a leader is ethics, a good ethical standard. You were vetted when you walked into this academy to see if you had good ethical standards, amongst other things, including your physical abilities. We assume walking in the door that you have some high ethical standards. You've learned an awful lot of things when you came to this academy. Today, you know how to shoot better than you ever did if you've never shot before. You know how to drive a car better than you ever did before. You know first aid. You know how to arrest a subject. You know laws. You know all of these things that we taught you. But what we didn't teach you ethics. Hopefully we didn't teach you ethics in this academy. You brought that to the table. You brought that to the table because of all these people out here who raised you and brought you up and taught you certain ethical standards. You have to take those ethical standards into your job. I used a three-pronged test when I was a police officer when I was making decisions. If I could answer this question, is it legal? Is it moral? Is it ethical? Those three questions. If I no to any one of those, it meant I was doing the wrong thing. And granted, you'll have to make those decisions in a split second. And sometimes you won't even know you're asking and answering those questions. They'll just come naturally to you because police officers have this great level of instinct. We know when to turn left versus turning right. We know when something doesn't feel right and we turn down an alley and run into a crime in progress. You develop those skills, you develop that instinct. We know, and you'll know in your gut. And what I'm telling you is to follow your gut. You'll know in your gut whether it's right or wrong. Follow those instincts and never let anybody challenge your ethical standards. So what I'm telling you here today is over time, skills diminish if you don't practice. Your firearms skills will get less if you don't practice. Your defensive tactics skills will diminish if you don't practice, and as you age, things will diminish. Your knowledge of the law will diminish if you don't keep yourself abreast of the new laws. But what should not and cannot diminish is your personal ethical standards. You will be challenged every single day by somebody in the public, by your fellow officers, by the criminal justice system itself, because the ends do not justify the means. You have to have high ethical standards. So I'll leave you with that, graduates, and say congratulations. I'm very, very proud of you today. It excites me to see you. I can say this with all earnest, and any other retired police officers or those who are looking to retire would say that we would gladly trade places with you today. I don't know that I'd want to go through the OC spray again, but I would gladly trade places with you again today. I'd start my career all over again, and I would give anything to redo those 8 years in a police car. So congratulations. God bless all of you. God bless the recruits, and be safe out there.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce to you our squad leaders and assistant squad leaders. A squad leaders, Joshua Yancho, Eric Porter, Ryan Smith, Scott Grams, Chris Goring from B Squad, Stephen Dumont, Jenna Saunders, and Tim Waringa. These were my everyday go-to recruits, along with the instructors. These were our right hand. They took care of the daily running of the squads. They did uniform inspections, gave announcements, organized volunteer opportunities, gave out gigs to fellow recruits, and made daily contact with me. They also had to endure me when something didn't go right. They didn't always really want to hear from me then, and I'm sure that when they saw my phone number come across their cell phone, there were times where they didn't want to answer it. They would always say when I'd call the classroom, "Oh no, what does the director want? Who's in trouble now?" I want to thank all of you. You have gone above and beyond to assist me and your squads this year. I hope that this experience will assist you in going on to be great leaders in your careers. Thank you very much.
First of all, I want to congratulate recruits from both squads for being here today. We have all put forth a tremendous effort to reach this moment, and now that it is here, its arrival seems bittersweet. In writing some of the earlier drafts, I found it easy to concentrate on the end, that there would be no more waking up at 0500 hours for class, no more early morning winter sprints up a snow-covered hill, and no more daily interaction with the friends that have become like a second family. However, I soon came to the realization that this day does not mark an end. It marks the beginning of a change. We no longer have the daily benefit of the training environment, forcing ourselves to better both our knowledge and our tactics. We no longer have the benefit of the training daily with our friends or the daily scrutiny from our instructors, pushing us to better ourselves, guiding us in our tactics so that we may be kept safe when we get out on the road. As one of our instructors once told us, "You'll never be as sharp as you are upon first exiting the academy." But we can change that. Now that our daily schedules have changed, we must take steps to ensure the good habits we have formed throughout this academy do not. I implore each of you to take an extra minute after any call you may go on, break it down mentally, and think about how you could have handled it better. Look for additional training and approach it with an open and engaged mind. And most of all, don't keep what you have learned to yourself. Share it with us. Just because we may not be working together does not mean that we cannot still learn together. This attitude of constant training and education will not only help our professional lives, but will augment our personal careers. We are about to work for unique organizations, unique in that their employees must be held to a higher standard both on duty and off. No other profession in the world can claim to offer what law enforcement promises. No other career has the potential to expose us to one person's anguish, another's outrage, or the overwhelming joy of saving a life, all in potentially the same night. We will all be confronted by dark times sooner or later, and when we are, we want to be ready. Remember our oath of honor, that we are held to a higher standard, and that we may stay vigilant in our beliefs no matter what the temptation. I would like to leave you with a simplistic quote from Mark Twain that has stood out to me. Always do right. This will gratify some and astonish the rest. Right now, I challenge each of you, recruits, experienced professionals, and family members. Indulge those few people expecting you to do the right thing both on duty and off, but make sure you have the courage to astonish everyone else by doing it when no one else will. Thank you.
Each year, the squads, are tasked with choosing the instructor of the year. This year's recipient had to endure our squad on a daily basis after we were basically ran into the ground by Officer Peters. We came into class, we were tired, we were sore, and our attention span wasn't the greatest. This instructor, he had an energy, he brought in energy to the classroom like no other instructor, and this was even before his morning coffee. This year's recipient of the Instructor of the Year is Sergeant Wachowski. Sergeant Wachowski, you come up here, please. Sergeant Wachowski, on behalf of A Squad, this is just a small token of our appreciation. We thank you for everything that you taught us, everything you gave to us here. Thank you. Director, could you please come up here? On behalf of A Squad, we'd like to first thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here today. And as a small token of our appreciation, we have 2 gifts for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, honored guests, friends, and family. Back in January, 10 months seemed like an eternity, but here we are. When we look back to January, it's hard to believe that the only way we knew each other was to look at each other's name tags. But now, it seems everybody has a nickname, like Buddha, Jaws, Crazy Eyes, 2 names, and my favorite, Old Man. We've been through a lot together. We survived lofty lectures of criminal law and procedural law. We studied accident investigation and patrol operations, which seemed like forever. We survived Lieutenant Wu and his endless runs through the city and introducing us to snow-covered hills and countless push-ups with our face in the snow. We survived the tests and the constant testing. We survived the rain and the heat for the weeks at the firing range to learn the importance of mental discipline and trigger control. We survived the war stories, most of which had some redeeming quality. Seriously, though, some of the things we'll probably remember most from these 10 months of instruction are the personal experiences related to us by our instructors. One message that came through clearly in all the war stories, and for all the instructions, for that matter, that we've received, was that in this job, we must perform ethically, honorably, and with the highest integrity, no matter what. We do not pretend to think we've learned all we need to know, and it seems the more you've learned, the more there is to learn. However, I can truly say that the instructors did an amazing job preparing us mentally and physically for what lies ahead. There was no sugarcoating, no pretty pictures painted, no embellishments or hiding of information, and for that I'm grateful. I'd like to thank all the instructors for providing the knowledge and tools needed to do this job, and for laying a solid foundation that we can build our careers upon. You have taught us that honor and integrity are reflected not only in our professional lives, but our personal lives also. You have given us the ability to act with wisdom and courage in the face of fear and the fortitude it takes to admit when we are wrong, learn from our mistakes, and move forward. And for that, we all thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would first and foremost like to thank you all for being here today and most importantly for your support over the past 10 months. I'd like to talk a little bit today about our instructors here at the Academy over the past year, specifically for B Squad. The reason we're all able to stand in front of you today as graduates is because of these men and women sitting up front. Every single one of these individuals is currently or has been involved in law enforcement in some form or fashion. I know B Squad had several experienced law enforcement officers, including detectives, lieutenants, sergeants, a deputy director, a senior special agent, and even a district court judge. The experience and knowledge that all of these instructors brought to class each and every day helped us to learn the material more effectively and apply it in real-world situations. While all of our instructors worked diligently to ensure we could stand before you today, it is Academy tradition for each squad to nominate an Instructor of the Year. The instructor B Squad chose for the Instructor of the Year was an instructor that really clicked with our squad as a whole. Their teaching style and sense of humor made class interesting and enjoyable. This instructor is Sergeant Kyle Griffith from South Haven Police Department. If you could come on up, we'd like to present you with a plaque. We'd like to say thank you. We learned a lot, and hopefully we'll see you in the future.
I hope so. Congratulations, sir. Thank you very much.
Let's give Sergeant Griffith a round of applause. At this time, we would also like to present Director Richart with a gift from B Squad. If you could please come forward. This is a rather large token of our gratitude to you and your hard work and getting us here today. So thank you very much, and hopefully that can be what they read in the classroom for years to come.
You didn't like the paper one?
Thank you. On behalf of all of us graduating today, I'd like to thank all of our instructors and the director for your time and effort this year. It was greatly appreciated by us all. We look forward to seeing you in the future, and thanks.
Now on to our student awards. I'd like to ask Detective Morningstar, Officer Peters, Lieutenant Wu, and Sergeant Reminga to please come to the stage.
Good afternoon. I'm an instructor for the Emergency Vehicle Operations, along with 4 other people. We start out the program with an 8-hour classroom, and it's a long 8 hours. But the good thing is, when it was done, it was done. But then we got to go outside for a full weekend, rain or shine. Unfortunately, this year, we had 1 full weekend of rain and 1 full weekend of shine, 90 degrees, which is kind of hot standing out on the blacktop. Recruits worked hard all weekend, and it is fun to watch them progress from Friday morning till Sunday afternoon. It's hard to pick just one recruit from each squad because all of them work so hard, learn so much. But what we did is we looked at attitude, skill, test results, and leadership, and chose from A Squad, Ryan Smith, and from B Squad, Stephen Dumont. You guys are And I just want to end by saying congratulations to all of you. You guys worked hard to get here. Remember to always be safe and always drive at your 80%.
Good afternoon, everybody, and again, thank you for coming here to celebrate the graduation of the 78th class. Pretty cool group of people. It's very interesting working with these young men and women. They refer to them occasionally as kids, even though some of them are rather old kids. And but when you're halfway to 100 like myself. That's a privilege you kind of get. I'd like to start out just introducing my staff. I see one of them here. I'm looking for the other two. They're probably busy. They're working. I'm the lead firearms instructor, and all that really means is I get stuck with the paperwork, and I get to haul everything back and forth to the range. So it's really a prestigious deal. But they offer it to me every year, so thank you, Director Richard, for that. One of my partners is here, not just a partner of mine, a great friend, fantastic firearms instructor, and that is Special Agent Brian Lutke from ATF. Brian, just raise your hand right here. Good-looking guy in the sharp suit sitting down front. Glenn Colbert and Glenn Colbert and Greg Wilshire are also partners of mine that teach firearms. They're from the Kentwood Police Department. Unfortunately, they're not able to be here today. But I got to tell you, what a fantastic group to work with. We love what we do. We have more fun. I can't even believe sometimes that I'm actually even getting paid to teach these guys firearms. And I felt kind of guilty, so I had a buck here, Jody. I was going to give that back to you. We have so much fun, but really she paid me $5. But great partners, enthusiastic, knowledgeable, committed. Mostly what I like the best is they're just so passionate about what they do. And that's really important. I think I speak for all of them when I say it's just an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to pass along these skills to these young men and women. And in our area of expertise, which is firearms, is very, very important. They start out, their first test, if you will, is 3 days of lecture with me. 3 straight days of lecture with me. And I've been in those lectures for 3 days with me, and I know what it's like. So if they get through that, they're already to a pretty good start. They learn about weapon systems, pistols, rifles, shotguns. They learn about ammunition components, ballistics, incapacitation factors, nomenclature, fancy word for parts, firearm safety, basic marksmanship fundamentals, firearms law, CCW, open carry, legal, illegal firearms, just a whole gambit of all types of things academically. And one thing that we spend a lot of time on, and is directly related to our firearms training, that there's nothing more important than the use of deadly force. And it's employment, when are you justified in utilizing deadly force? I start out every class, and they can probably attest to this, and I say to them, first thing I'd like to ask is that as law enforcement officers, do we shoot to kill by a show of hands? And every one of them raises their hand. Every one of them, just literally year after year after year, they raise their hand. And that's their initial perception. We actually get to the point where they understand that, no, we don't actually shoot to kill. We shoot to stop a threat, to end a forward aggression. Ultimately, we just shoot to incapacitate. And there's a great deal of learning and understanding that goes along with that. We train them to shoot center of mass, point of aim. That's because that's where all the vital organs are located. We do that because it's our intention to damage that vital tissue. We don't shoot to kill, but we knowingly accept the fact that someone may die as a result of that deadly force employment. It's a responsibility sanctioned by our society to take a life. It's a monumentally huge responsibility. I can't think of none any larger in this business. And it's not an easy thing for them to accept as part of their job responsibilities that they may have to, in the performance of their duty, take a life someday. We know that there are times when it is absolutely justified and necessary to prevent the loss of life for others. It requires a great deal of courage, mental discipline, and preparation. Training with their equipment, being efficient, being competent, developing what we like to call courage under fire mentality, that mental discipline we talked about. We have alluded several times during these presentations about the incident where we had their local law enforcement officers showed the day we lost our most recent brother officer, Trevor Slott, that we're very fortunate that those brave men and women were willing to put their lives on the line and answer that call. They demonstrated courage under fire and spades while involved in a gun battle with 2 heavily armed suspects. It was their duty to protect and serve that put them in harm's way, and we're so thankful that they prevailed and that they survived. Nice shooting. I am confident that the good Lord will give you all bonus points for sending those 2 cowards to you fill in the blank. Now for our A and B squad shooting awards, I'd like to first call up here the first recipient from A squad, Mark Remersma. Mark, I have a certificate of achievement that we're going to give you, and you probably should have stayed sitting down. I've got a gift certificate here from Gander Mountain for $25,000. Oh, no, for $25. Sorry, I didn't mean to get you too excited there. Thank you, Mark. Did a great job. We tested these individuals on just basic speed and proficiency and weapons handling and stuff, and had them shoot a course and gave them some points and put them on a timer, and we kind of came up with an aggregate score. And from A squad, he was our more proficient shooter. So congratulations, Mark. Good job. And now for B Squad, Mr. Aaron Gray. Nice job, Aaron. Actually, yours is the 25. No, yours is $25 too. I'm sorry.
Appreciate it.
I thought somebody was getting 25 grand. Aaron again did a great job for Squad B, demonstrating proficiency with all those weapon systems. They shoot pistols, they shoot patrol rifles, and they shoot shotguns, and they all did a great job. So good job for that. In closing, I'd just like to tell the recruits a couple reminders that this is a skill that is perishable. In that although I think you received some quality and some really important training while you're here at the academy, you can't just leave thinking you're already prepared to take on everything in the world. I want you to be committed and dedicated to your firearms proficiency. Like we tell you, the skills that we teach you, it's all about you going home at the end of the day. It's your best last resort is to be proficient and to be prepared with those firearms. So it goes with the territory. It's the risk of the job, but take it seriously like you did in training and you'll be fine. So best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Officer Bo Peters with the Grahams Community College Police Department. I'm given the joyful opportunity to teach A Squad's physical fitness, subject control, and tactics course. This afternoon I'll be presenting 3 awards. The first award I will be presenting is for Most Improved Male and Most Improved Female in the area of physical fitness for A Squad. Would and Recruit Porter step forward, please? Now, when we hear most improved, we often assume that the person receiving this award was deficient in the beginning of the area and that they're receiving the award. The reality is that the entire class joined the police academy and was in very good physical condition. So when I had to choose 2 students to receive this award, I had to receive the test scores, put them together, and compare from the beginning diagnostic test in January to the ending test, exit test in the end of April. And all of them performed well. In regards to Recruit Porter, at the beginning of the academy, Recruit Porter's test scores were not exactly where I would like to have seen there at the low end. The reality is I wasn't terribly concerned, but he didn't have a whole lot of room for error. He was going to have to work hard and work every single day towards it. I had a conversation with Recruit Porter saying just that. And in the past, with different classes and different students, I've had to continue to stay in that student's ear to remind them that they need to continue to work hard, that they don't have a lot of room for error. That wasn't the case with Recruit Porter. He handled that suggestion that I gave him very professional-like. I told him what he needed to do, and he just went out and did it. So when he came to taking the exit score, Recruit Porter passed the exit with no concerns. He nearly doubled the number of push-ups he did in 1 minute. He also reduced 34 seconds off his run time. So for the hard work that Recruit Porter has demonstrated, he is the recipient of the Most Improved Male in the area of physical fitness for A Squad. In regards to Recruit Wood, as I mentioned earlier, all the students began the academy in good physical condition. As I reviewed the test scores, to determine who had improved the most, I found something interesting, and that is Recruit Wood was given the diagnostic test in January, very early in the academy. She actually scored high enough at that time to pass the exit test. Recruit Wood worked very hard all semester. All 3 months later, when she took the exit test, she had improved in the following ways. She had added 1 inch to a vertical jump, added 14 sit-ups in 1 minute, and reduced her run time by 30 seconds. Additionally, she more than doubled the number of push-ups she was able to do in 1 minute. Recruit Wood could have not pushed herself very hard and still would have passed the test. Instead, she worked very hard, and her exit test scores showed that. That is why Recruit Wood is the most improved female in the area of physical fitness for A Squad. The last award I will be presenting is the Charles Wells Excellence in Physical Education and Physical Fitness Award. Mr. Wells was a dedicated instructor for the Police Academy. He taught the physical fitness and subject control sections for every class for over 25 years. Not only was he gifted in teaching the skills, but he was also incredible at motivating and encouraging students. Speaking as a former student of his, I can tell you that there's a very good reason why he is well known and well respected by law enforcement community throughout the entire state. Mr. Wells decided a few years ago that he wanted to focus on more of his responsibilities within the wellness department here at GRCC. Once he stepped out of his role in the police academy staff knew that we needed to do something to honor the service that he provided to so many over the years. And that is when we created this award in his name. The Wells Award is given to one student per squad each year. That student must show excellence in the area of physical fitness. This award, however, does not necessarily get awarded to the student who has the highest test scores. The student must demonstrate leadership within the area of physical fitness. The student must encourage and motivate others within their squad to perform their best. Would Recruit Yancho step forward, please? Recruit Yancho demonstrated all of the things I had just mentioned. Recruit Yancho has a true passion for physical fitness. During the semester that the students had PT class, Recruit Yancho was their squad leader. That worked out very well because I saw many of them taking to him to ask questions and him taking advantage of opportunities to give suggestions and motivation and encouragement. I also never heard a grumble from Recruit Yancho about exercises. He saw every exercise as an opportunity to improve himself. So much so that after we had finished the PT course, we had moved on to the subject control course, he decided that he would come to me and ask for a special PT day. As you can imagine, the remainder of his squad was not as eager as he was towards that day. So for all the hard work that he put forward, not only for the dedication he demonstrated to himself, but the dedication that he demonstrated to his fellow squad mates, Recruit Yancho is the 2011 A Squad Charles Wells Excellence in Physical Education Award winner. Thank you.
Afternoon, folks. Couldn't help but notice I got a couple of old recruits sitting in the audience here who have endured my punishments on B Squad before. So, John Schaefer, you want to stand up real quick? Officer John Schaefer. Well, as Officer Peters says, when we get our recruits, they come in all shapes and sizes and varying fitness levels. Some are in better shape than others. Some put the instructors to the test right off the bat. Our job with them is to get them ready, to make sure they're safe, to give them the skills to stay healthy, and to give them the skills over the long haul, the course of their career, so they enjoy their retirement. We do this intense training that challenges them both on a physical level, but also on their will to persevere, to keep on going. A lot of times when we are at our most tired, when our lungs are burning, when our muscles are screaming, that's when we develop our character. That's when we make that decision to keep on moving forward. And that quality, that characteristic is very essential in a police officer. So I'm going to give you a quick highlight of some of B Squad's characteristics, things that they have done over the past year, and I do this in the way of a scorecard. One of the last photos you saw on the video was a very dim run up a snowy January hill on the northeast side of Grand Rapids. That's the first day of class. It was early in the morning. Nobody really was all that wild about it, especially when they got to the top. So as far as the scorecard goes, Lieutenant Wu and Officer Peters 1, Recruit 0. Cross-training in the field house, where we're sitting right now. A lot of days spent here in the gym, in the mat room, across the hall. Lieutenant Wu 2, Recruit 0. Urban running through the winter. I think it was mentioned once already before. 5 o'clock traffic can be murder. 5 o'clock traffic as you are running with sweat running down your face, trying to avoid being hit is another story. Lieutenant Wu 3 recruits 0. Lieutenant Wu has his finger dislocated by Recruit Richardson during a maximal effort drill. Lieutenant Wu 3 recruits 1. Lieutenant Wu was pile driven by recruit Goring during a grappling drill. Lieutenant Wu 3 recruits 2. Lieutenant Wu tears a calf muscle during a cardiovascular team effort exercise, otherwise known as soccer. Lieutenant Wu 3 recruits 3. Lieutenant Wu's ability to father more children is seriously jeopardized during a friendly game of dodgeball. Lieutenant Wu 3 recruits 4. Never have I been so happy to see a squad graduate and move on. In all seriousness, no. Squad B, in my tenure as an instructor for physical readiness and fitness, has, as a group, done head and shoulders above most of the groups that I've ever had here. Their attention to intensity, their want to do more was a challenge for me. I found it hard to keep up sometimes with them. That said, there are recruits that stand out more than others. Some that come in at a fitness level that sometimes is a little bit lower than everybody else's, and they put 100, 150% effort in, and when they graduate, they are not the same person that they were when they started. So if I could have Natasha Smith and Tim Wieringa step to the stage, please. And when I say these things, Natasha, why don't you come on over here. When I say these things, I don't mean to embarrass. We'll talk about Natasha first. When she came to the recruit opening day class for me, Natasha, it was obvious that between the pre-test for MCOLS and the first day of class, Natasha had been sitting on the couch a little bit. Natasha was able to do 2 push-ups, which is good, not great. However, when she left the academy, she was able to do 20 push-ups. It's about a 900% increase in performance. She gained 2 inches on her vertical jump, did 11 more sit-ups, 28% increase there, and dropped her half-mile shuttle run by more than a minute. So with that amount of improvement in performance, I award the Most Improved Female Award to recruit Natasha Smith. And then we have Timothy. Tim is kind of tall, kind of lanky. When I first saw him, I wanted to nickname him Ichabod Crane. But he always gave me everything he had. He left everything out on the floor. Sometimes he left everything on the street. Sometimes he left it on the side of a hill, literally. But Tim always sought to improve. He knew where some of his deficiencies were, and he always gave me everything he had. So much so that he gained 115% improvement on his push-ups. He dropped 41 seconds in his half-mile shuttle run. And an astounding fact and figure here, his body composition, fat to muscle, he dropped 13 pounds of fat, but gained 11 pounds of muscle over the course of our workouts. An amazing feat. So for the Most Improved Male, I award the certificate to Tim Wieringa. My Charlie Wells Awards recipient, he was an old man. He still is an old man, but he is an intense old man. It was evident by the first day of class that as soon as he stepped through the door that he was the go-to person for the squad. He had an intensity about him and a maturity level that set the pace for the entire squad. He was very matter-of-fact, but also had a great sense of humor. His age, though, also kept him behind a little bit as we first started. Didn't stop him, though. I mean, he was very, very focused on getting better. The leadership aspect is what really stood out about this recruit, though. Not only was he able to bring his own performance up, but there were times when he was, it's like he was doing my job. He was in somebody's ear yelling at him or pulling him along, getting him to do better. So it was, it was almost like, hey, go get him. Boom, he was on him. And he was getting them rolling, getting them running, getting their performance up to a good level, too. This recruit gained 8 push-ups between our diagnostic and our exit. He dropped 35 seconds off of his half-mile shuttle run and dramatically restructured his body fat composition, dropping 14 pounds of fat, gaining 18 pounds of muscle. Astounding. Displayed confidence, control, intensity, and calm under pressure. Demonstrated a knowledge and understanding of the importance of fitness as it relates to job readiness, tactical preparedness, and always displayed the never quit, always survive attitude that I look for. So for my B Squad Charlie Wells Award recipient, I'd like to call Chris Goring to the stage.
Our final award today will be given by Mr. Jim DeVries, representing the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards.
Graduates and family members and fellow law enforcement officers, I would like to thank you for allowing me to participate here today. I'm here today to bring congratulations from the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. As a commissioner, I represent several different disciplines within the criminal justice community. The commission is made up of 14 members who are appointed by the governor and 3 additional members who, by law, are commissioners by virtue of the positions they hold in law enforcement. Commission members represent chiefs of police, sheriffs, law enforcement labor organizations, prosecuting attorneys, the Criminal Defense Bar, the Detroit Police Department, the Michigan State Police, and the Michigan Attorney General. Graduates, I welcome each of you into the law enforcement and criminal justice family that the Commission represents. As I do this, I would like to take a minute to challenge each of you to reach out and become acquainted with your extended law enforcement family. There are nearly 20,000 law enforcement officers in the state. Developing positive relationships through the law enforcement and criminal justice disciplines will not only speak highly of your agency, it will reflect on how you are reviewed in the law enforcement community. That extended family, which you are now a member, is reflected in MCOLS. Our staff and the Commission itself are composed of persons who possess a wealth of field experience as well as advanced educational and professional development. MCOLS, as you know, is committed to the continuing professionalism of law enforcement and the criminal justice system. By law, the Commission is responsible for developing and administering selections and training standards that are used to identify qualified candidates and prepare them to perform the important functions of a law enforcement officer. As part of that preparation, the Commission recognizes candidates who have performed in an exemplary manner throughout the training process. This award recognizes many things. However, the key component in a candidate's preparation to do the job of a law enforcement officer is the successful completion of the academy training. The MCOLS Outstanding Performance Award is presented to the recruit who has demonstrated exceptional performance in the academy experience. The recipient typifies the characteristics of an ideal officer by exhibiting the highest standards of criminal, mental, physical, moral fitness while in the training environment. To be selected for this award, recruits are rated by the academy staff, fellow recruits, based on overall academic achievement, skill performance, appearance, leadership, and communications ability. We have 2 recipients today, 1 for each squad, both A and B. On behalf of the Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, it gives me great pleasure to present the Outstanding Performance Award to Squad A to Eric Porter. And for Squad B, Stephen Dumond.
In 2009, the Police Academy joined a tradition that dates back to World War I, the issuance of a challenge coin. From its military beginnings, the challenge coin had a special meaning to those that carried it. It identifies membership and affiliation with a select group of individuals and has been widely adopted by police, fire, and EMS agencies after the terrorist attacks of September 11th. Once the coin has been earned, the member can be challenged by a fellow coin holder to produce the coin or pay the consequences. The coin is earned and never just given. On the front of the coin is a picture of the badge that represents Grand Rapids Community College. And on the back of the coin is the Oath of Honor, which you can see there's a theme here throughout everybody today referring back to the Oath of Honor. 2 squads A and B. It has been an amazing year, filled with so many memories. I hope that this coin serves as an everyday reminder that you are part of something bigger than yourself. I hope that you will remember where you came from and the bonds that were formed as you earned this. Let it be an everyday reminder that you will never betray your badge, your integrity, your character, or the public trust. You will always have the courage to hold yourself accountable for your actions, uphold the Constitution, your community, and the agency that you serve. It is my privilege to present Session 78 with the GRCC Police Academy Challenge Coin. Mr. Zief, will you please assist me?
It's my privilege to introduce you to each of the graduates, beginning with B Squad, starting with Brandon Allen. Stephen Dumond. Chris Goring. Aaron Gray. Richard Klimmer. Lee Mastenbrook. Josiah McMains. Justin Pickard. Eric Pulaski. Christopher Richardson. Obadiah Riojas. Juan Rivera Gonzalez. Jenna Saunders. Gerald Sievers. Natasha Smith. Tyler Tenbrink. Timothy Wieringa.
B squad, seated. A squad, Ted Hutt.
Now the members of A Squad, Sean Bursma. Aaron Dow. Scott Grahams. Peter Groders. Brian Hansford. Eric Porter. Joseph Powell. Mark Remersma. Sean Scripsima. Charles Smith. Ryan Smith. Leslie Talbot. Corin Verstrat. Ashley Wood. Joshua Yancho.
A squad, be seated. Session 78, attention. Squads dismissed.
This concludes our ceremony. We ask that you all join us for cake and refreshments next door.